Hello, I'm Khan, and I'm the Executive Director of Lotus on Water. First of all, Happy New Year. It's already the year of the tiger, and hence the topic we have today is that, is it going to be a roaring year or a meowing year for you? Now, before we go into the year, a brief introduction of who we are, Lotus on Water. Now, you find this image familiar is that probably you have passed by Upper Thomson Road before. We've been there since 2006. From 1, we have expanded to 4. Beautiful Lotus on Water Feng Shui galleries, which you should definitely visit. Now, this is Master Yun Longzi. He is the founder of Lotus on Water, 6th generation in the family. This is Master Yun on China's CCTV stage in early 2020, where he received numerous awards. As we are speaking about this, Master Yun has also been featured on BBC, CCTV, and many other different channels. Now, one thing worthy of mention is that this is the Great Wall of China. In 2020 December, Master Yun was invited to exhibit his feng shui arts on the Great Wall of China. And for the past 3,500 years, no one has ever done so. This is the Great Wall. Now, who am I? I have been following Master Yun for about 20 over years, learning about this since young. I myself, I've been featured on 8 Days, on Channel 958, 933, and so on. But enough about me, enough about Lotus. Let's take a look at what feng shui is and what it means for you. Some brief concepts here. Now, we look at 3 things. If you get these 3 things, you pretty much know how feng shui is going to be and how you can apply them. We see heavenly time, we see earthly resources, and we see human will. You might hear this saying all the time, 天时地利人和, and so on. But let me break it down for you and let me tell you how you can really use it. Heavenly time, you can't control. It's something like weather. It's going to be spring, it's going to be spring. It's going to be winter, it's going to be winter. If it's going to be sunny tomorrow, as forecast, it will be, right? So let's not focus on things that you cannot control. Let's take a look at earthly resources. Earthly resources would be more like the place that you're staying, the direction of the house, and also probably the feng shui jewelry that you have with you and so on. It's a much extended topic. It's not today's focus. Now, human will is something that you can do. It is actually talking about the humility of the person to work together with the heavenly time and earthly resources. What do I mean? Now, let's say if I tell you tomorrow it's going to be raining heavily, but you decide to go out without an umbrella. And that is a poor example of human will, because raining, it's heavenly time. Earthly resources is probably your umbrella. And human will is that whether you listen and work together with it. Flip side, if I tell you that this season is going to be amazing, it's going to be a lot of chances pouring into Singapore, but you do nothing much about it, then you'll be wasting 2020 away. So my point on bringing out these 3 terms is to tell you that feng shui is not something that's destined. It's that you can have a lot of great leverage and control on how you want your energy, how you want your prosperity, and how you want your 2022 to be. Now, one more concept before we really move into 2022. This is yin and yang chart. A lot of us who have seen this, yin and yang, okay? 2 sides to everything. In the Chinese belief and the Chinese perspective and philosophy, it's not yin or yang, it's always and. Both are important. Try to remember this concept as we move into feng shui. Then you will know that we are looking at things from 2 perspectives, all right? Now, for feng shui, spatial feng shui, like your office, your house, or even politics in the world, which country is going to do better, and so on, it's really about feng shui. In feng shui, what is the set of yin and yang we are talking about? This. We are talking about time and space. I repeat one more time, it's about time and space. Now, once you have both time and you have controlled the space, or you know where it's going to be more prosperous, you have pretty much done a great feng shui. In the past, you might have heard that some feng shui practitioners, they are not willing to tell you everything because of the superstitions that if they tell you everything, they might have to suffer on your behalf. For instance, they might tell you that, okay, this piece of land, it's amazing feng shui, but they don't tell you when. So they tell you the space, but they don't tell you the timing. Now, or maybe they will tell you that, after 2024, it's going to be a great period for everyone, but they don't tell you which country or where in Singapore is going to be the most prosperous. So they tell you half of the whole formula. Now here, I would like to tell you both of them, right? So once you have captured the time and once you have controlled the space, then your feng shui is there almost. Let's talk about easier sets of yin and yang. Let's talk about time first. Now, when did our current year, this water tiger year, start? 2022 is Ren Yin water tiger year. Previously, we were in 2021 metal ox year. When did it exactly begin and when will it last? One thing for sure, it didn't happen on the 1st of February. It didn't happen on Nong Li Chu Yi. It didn't happen when Channel 8 was counting down to the year of the tiger. The real beginning of the water tiger year happened on the start of spring. An image for clarity, long ago, the Chinese, they have already discovered there is this thing called the sun, S-U-N. And the amazing thing is that probably because they didn't have handphones back then, so they discovered that the earth is one of the heavenly bodies that revolves around the sun. And it takes about 360 to 365 days for the earth to come back to the same spot. Previously, we just had one of these occasions. We call it the winter solstice, the Dongzhi. You will know that this is the day that many people will be eating dumplings, and you ask yourself, how come the Chinese are always eating dumplings celebrating winter solstice on the 21st or 22nd of December? Are we actually following the Western Georgian calendar? No, it is because the Chinese or our ancestors have already discovered the solar calendar thousands of years ago. So a new year begins on the start of spring. When is this start of spring? When did our tiger year actually started? It was on the 4th of February 0551 AM. Now, a few clarifications. This 0551 AM is the Singapore timing. We don't have much time today to cover the difference between solar timing and political timing. But if you are based in Singapore, the tiger year started for you at 0551 AM, 4th of February, which also means that if there were children or kids that are born on after 大年初一, on 2nd or 3rd of February, officially they are still born in the year of the ox. Only people born after 4th of February 0551, then they are considered a tiger, right? Okay, so this we got the timing correct. So when would this tiger year end? Another Li Chun, another start of spring. The next 4th of February 2023, then we proceed to the year of the rabbit. So we have 360 days to prosper. Make the best out of it. 2020, water tiger year. After clarifying the theories, after clarifying the timing, what's the overview of this water tiger year? Now, our take is that this 2022 water tiger year is going to be a most amazing and prosperous year. It only happens once in every 9 years, and I'll explain why. The last time it happened was 2013. Now, if you're in your expertise or your industry, you can go back and check out how was 2013's market for you, the whole year. And the next time it will happen, it will be in 2031. So every 9 years, okay, 2013, 2022, and 2031. So we are fortunate to be meeting in this 2022, probably because of this. And you do something to your office, to your home, and maybe you can prosper even more in this whole year. So this 2022, it's going to be amazing, and I'm going to tell you where and how. Let's look at the next set of the yin and yang. We talk about time. Let's talk about space. Space, I'm going to show you a chart, and this chart, you might find it familiar, especially during Chinese New Year. As I often joked, when the COVID period started, everyone is a doctor, and when we are close to Chinese New Year or in Chinese New Year, everyone becomes a feng shui master. You might have seen this chart and you're familiar with it because it might be already circulating in your WhatsApp group, your Telegram chats, and so on. You see 9 squares. We call this the 9宫格. It belongs to the school of flying stars feng shui. And in your chat group, you might have seen with these 9 squares, there are 9 numbers in it. Number 1 all the way to number 9. And if you have been receiving this diagram for several years, you will notice that the numbers, they keep shifting. Henceforth, the name called flying stars. Now, I have taken the liberty to actually add the directions to each of the palaces or each of the sectors. You see north, east, southwest, and so on. Now, you can use this chart, if you know how to interpret it, to apply it to your home. You can use it to apply it to your office, your business. You can even apply it to understand which countries are going to be better, doing better in 2022. Henceforth, should you be buying those countries' funds, stocks and shares, and so on. You can even use this chart to analyze which part of Singapore is going to be more prosperous, especially if you are going to invest in a property. So, 9 stars. Now, a bit backward. Where did these 9 stars come from? There are many, many different stars in the universe, in the skies, but these are the 9 stars that the ancient Chinese have identified. Okay, we call it 北斗七星 plus 2 invisible stars, 左辅 and 右弼. If it's total darkness, you will see that it's something like that. Okay, we call it like, it's looked like a cradle and it's supposed to point to the North Dipole star. And this set of 9 stars, they keep shifting for the whole year relative to the seasons. And when they shift, they would affect how feng shui is supposed to be. Now, they have complicated names, ancient Chinese. For today's sake and today's modern world, it has been codified into numbers and colors. For instance, we don't call it 左辅右弼, we don't call it 巨门, we don't call it 破军星, and so on. We call it number 1, 2, 3, and so on. And there's a color to it. But for time's sake and for today's convenience, I will just be talking about numbers and very quickly moving into the space and what exactly it means for you. Now, I keep on saying that 2022 is going to be amazing, happens only once in every 9 years. Last time happened was 2013 and so on. How amazing it is supposed to be. Now, you saw the 9 squares, am I right? Most of the years, 4 to 5 of these squares are good. The next 4 to 5, not so good, terrible. So you have a yin and yang, a balance. But for this year, 2022, these 9 squares, 7 sectors are good or even excellent. Only 2 are terrible. So the chances of you prospering in 2022, I would say it's very, very high if you know what to do and what to avoid. Let's take a look at the worst stars first. Since there are only 2 of them, it should be easier to handle. 9 squares, you're back at it. I'm going to review to you one by one. I'll review to you the important ones, okay? This is as specific as I want it to be. It might still be a little bit general. And when we come to the point to how you exactly apply to your home and to your office, I think that will call for a direct consultation at Lotus on Water Gallery with me and my team. But let's take a look at this. There are 2 terrible stars every single year. Some of us who are a bit more involved in the world of feng shui will know them by their names called 二黑 and 五黄. They will mean disaster star or illness and depression and so on. Now in 2022, which we are already in, this one of the bad stars, number 2 star, it goes to the southwest. This is worthy of actually elaborating a little bit here. This number 2 star actually means depression, delays, hidden illness, and so on. Now let's check back on history, shall we? Recent years. The star keeps jumping. I explain it. In 2020, this number 2 star is in the south sector. Now, you can take a look at the articles that we wrote that in early 2020 or late 2019, we actually said that Singapore, which is represented by the south, is going to go through a rather weird, depressing and delayed year. It could be because Singapore is a country that hardly screws ourselves up. It could be another Lehman Brothers crisis. It could be terrorist attack. It could be virus. It could be natural disasters, whatever that is. So I think the heavens have chosen COVID to manifest. That was 2020. In 2021, where did this number 2 star go to? It went to the north, which represents Beijing and China. It also represents the aviation sector, and it also represents supply chain logistics, and so on. You know, sometimes people are either overtly optimistic or overly pessimistic. After a year of COVID in 2020, many people think that, you know, I think China has done a great job. China is going to get out of this entire thing. I think I can fly to Japan again, and so on. But in 2021, we actually saw that China, while it definitely got better, this hidden illness keeps coming back to haunt them. And as for the aviation sector, we all know by now, if you bought your SIA shares in the earlier part of 2021, which was, if I remember correctly, $4+ at the end of this 2021 and before the Tiger year, it will probably have only gone up by a few cents. So still pretty stuck, can't really fly. And not to mention the supply chain, the logistic of the whole world is stuck because China is stuck. So that's what this depressive 2 black star would actually mean. And currently in this Tiger year, this number 2 star is in the southwest. What does it mean? It means that if you're watching this now, you would like to take out your smartphone to find out where exactly southwest is in your house or in your office. If that place is your main door, if it's a big opening, you want to seek professional advice on how to actually curb this thing. The remedy chain is different for everyone. We have to see the exact place to know what's going on. Now, so please avoid this southwest. The second thing about the southwest is that it represents a type of person, right? So as I said, once you can understand this nice squares chart, you know, you can do amazing analysis and application with it. The southwest refers to matriarch of the house, which also means mothers, elderly ladies, or the most senior lady in the house. It can, in a family unit, it can just mean your wife, it can just mean the mother of the house. In a company, it can mean female leadership, and so on. Now, since this depressive 2 black star hits on the southwest palace, which represents queens, matriarchs of the family, and so on. So ladies, I must tell you that in 2022, you must take care of your health greatly, especially if southwest is an important sector in your house, all right? Second star we know is the sibling of southwest. The number 2 star is the number 5 star. This is not hidden. This guy, number 5 star, is accident, disaster, impact. In 2012, if I remember correctly, this number 5 star went to the east. The east represents Japan. And that was when the Fukushima incident happened. So center actually represents Middle East, Israel. So that might be a little bit problematic in the year of 2022, but we see. Now, after we are done with these 2 siblings, these terrible stars, the rest of the stars that I might be able to cover today would all be auspicious and prosperous. And that's how powerful 2022 is going to be. Let's take a look at the first one. Number 8. Number 8 goes to the northeast. Now, number 8, it's very important. What does it represent? It represents money. It represents direct wealth. It represents business. So many different sectors, and you say, well, can't you say, well, the 7 sectors are all very good. Do I have to do something to each of them to make sure that I have a super hot 2022? Maybe yes, but let's say, if you want to focus on 1 or 2, number 8, this northeast is the most important one that you must capture. Without capturing northeast, pretty much you are not doing anything to your feng shui in 2022. What does northeast represent? It represents Korea, South Korea. In fact, South Korea has been up and rising since 2020. 2021, they were doing wonderful, and I think they are going to do even more powerful in the year of the Tiger. It also represents in the matters of Singapore geography, places like Hougang, Sengkang, Punggol, and so on. So if you are staying there or you have relatives staying there, you can tell them the good news that their property prices might be going up by quite a bit. And number 8 actually represents earth energy. Earth energy being so prosperous, it also means that in the year of 2022, the property prices in Singapore, I think they are just going to keep going up, up, and up. Hardly anything to actually stop them. So once again, when you apply it to your home and your office, you want to see where is the northeast sector of your house. If it happens to be the biggest window opening, congratulations. a lot of wealth energy is going to come into your house in 2022. If in office, you want to make sure that the key people are sitting in this spot, okay? If you can't decipher your own house plan or your office plan, please look for us. Please look for me. Don't make a mistake and don't waste 2022 away. What's the next great star? The next wonderful star is in the south. Now the south represents Singapore. I'll talk about Singapore shortly. It's a number 9 star. And what does number 9 represent? Represents quite a variety of things. In short, what I tell my clients is that it represents indirect wealth. Don't get this, don't be mistaken by this word indirect wealth. It doesn't necessarily mean gambling or your weekly lucky draw or your what do you call that, Singapore Pools thing. Indirect wealth, it actually means your second source of income. For instance, let's say you have a career and you're doing quite a bit of investments. Are you going to make the correct choices? Are your investments going to be prospering? That's indirect wealth. In fact, more and more, I've been advising clients that indirect wealth is an important aspect. Let's take, for instance, a family unit, all right? The husband direct wealth, and what the wife earns would be his indirect wealth, vice versa. So when you work on these two wealths, you are actually prospering everyone's income. And I come back to the point that if there is wealth to be prospered, as long as it's legal, you will want to tap on it. And in this 2022, because Singapore is in the south, when such a good star come to us, the whole country in Singapore, it's going to be very, very good. So I have great faith in Singapore's markets, Singapore's property markets, and our institutions in 2022. So if you're out there to buy funds, country funds, as I said, Northeast is Korea, South is Singapore, it's going to be amazing. For those of us in Singapore, I have great faith and confidence in Singapore's markets, in Singapore's institutions. And of course, we were talking about if you want to buy funds and so on. We talk about the Northeast is Korea, South is Singapore. I think they are going to do pretty well in 2022. So with Singapore being in such a fantastic, such a prosperous location, it really tells us that a lot of capital is going to flow into our country and a lot of opportunities are going to be made. Let's talk about Singapore a little bit more. As I mentioned just now, in 2020, what star was it? It was a 2 black star that was in the south, which was a depressive year. Everything was slow, uncertain, hidden illness, and so on. In 2021, what we mentioned and what we wrote before was that a number 1 star, which we'll touch on that briefly, came to Singapore. And that means that Singapore's situation was up and coming. In 2021, we saw a lot of great capital coming into our country. People all over the world, international, buying houses, buying estates by the whole block. We've seen that. And in 2022 and beyond, it's going to do even better. My advice to many of my clients who are actually working or have migrated overseas, and I tell them that if they want to come back to Singapore, they better make it fast. Because after 2024, Singapore is going to be even richer, more prosperous, more populous than now. If we are not powerful enough, we would be extremely powerful and influential by the time it's 2024 and beyond. So South, likewise with Northeast, extremely important. You will want to capture it, especially if, let's say, your head of the bed, your main working desk, be it in the office, be it in the home, is in the south. That's the area you want to be. Now, I observe that many Singaporean homes, because it's such a hot country, we on the aircon all the time. Now, if you have a wall, or if you have like windows that's south-facing or northeast-facing, might do you a lot of good if you can just open them up once in a while to let the qi, to let the air come in. And that's where the prosperity will come in as well. So be in the spot and face the spot and let the qi come into you, right? That's south. The next one we're talking about is number 1 star. Now, so I focus on these 3. These 3 are excellent, excellent stars. Number 1 actually means literati or benefactors. We have covered wealth, which is number 8 and number 9. Number 1 is really about who's coming out here to help you. And it goes to the north in 2022, this current water tiger year. This is also an amazing star. And what does the north represent? If you've been following closely, it represents China, it represents aviation sector, it represents supply chain, and so on. Logistics also. So China, I had great faith that they could have made it past 2021. A lot of setbacks and depression and delays nonetheless. But since we are in the water tiger year, China is going to do extremely well from 2022 onwards to, well, at least a decade, maybe even 2 decades later. So friends who are investing long term, I do tell them that China has not reached its peak yet, 100%. So it's going to be a great year for China. You have China, you have Korea, and you have Singapore to work on if you're investing. Now, what does the North represent? It also represents logistics, aviation. So this 2022 is a year that I think we can all fly all around the world again. Shares of SIA should be going up, and you can go for Japan for your holidays and so on. And the North also represents supply chain. Many of my clients and different talks that I give to, probably their businesses were affected by how the supply chain was stuck, cost went up, semiconductor industry, aerospace, and so on. So don't worry, in this 2022, it's going to be amazing, right? So we have a lot of amazing things to share. You have the Northeast, you have the North, we have the South. Now let's take a look at one more. Yeah, we have it. You can see that the color is a bit different. This one is a bit darker blue. It's a good spot. I personally don't think that it's a great one, but it's still good. Northwest would mean either the Europe or the United States of America. I haven't got to that thing yet. But 6 means status, it means power. Some people like to call it the Marshall benefactor. So pretty much an yin and yang with what's happening in the North. Basically, you just need to understand it's a good star. Friends who have business relationship with USA, last year was a bit of a quarrelsome thing. This year, in 2022, would be much better. So when the whole world or the major markets are doing wonderful, like for instance, US or the Europe, China, Korea, Singapore, that is also why 2022 would be quite a prosperous and peaceful year. So I really hope that you can capture it and make the best out of it. As I said, the tides might be high, but if your boat has holes, you'll still be sinking. Now, and the PT thing is that you'll be seeing that everyone is up there, but how come the weather is good, it's not happening to me? You got to apply this and do something for yourself, for your family, and for your business. We still have 3 other palaces. I won't be covering the rest of them because if you manage to avoid number 2 in the southwest, 5 in the center, if you manage to harvest north, number 1, northeast, number 8, south, number 9, you're pretty much there for 2022. The rest of the spots is a bonus, right? So a quick summary. This is a quick one. The bad locations, the terrible ones, southwest and center. No good. Avoid at all costs. If can't avoid, need to put remedies, let me know. If for good locations is northeast, south, and the north. Excellent locations. You have wealth, you have benefactors, you have people to help you. In terms of business, it's always about 人跟财. That's why you have 三管人丁水管财. You have both of this yin and yang again, then you're pretty much secured for the 2022. What can you do? As I mentioned, always be there, face the spot, and then let the qi come in. If you want solid remedies on how to actually improve on that location and make sure you don't waste 2022, you have to look for me. You have to look for Lotus on Water to find the remedies. So, this is the point. After listening to all this, make sure you do something about it and make your 2022 count. Don't be hindered by what happened in 2020. Don't be hindered by what happened in 2021. Once again, this 2022 Water Tiger year is going to be an extremely full of opportunities year, just like what many have experienced in 2013. We're going to experience it again in 2022. If you miss this, the next time it's going to happen is 2031. The best way now is that you ask yourself how old you are and you plus 9 to it, and you will know that by then, do you still have the energy to capture the wealth and prosperity. This is the end of the presentation. I thank you very much, and I hope that you have a prosperous water tiger year. These are my contact details. You can definitely contact me via my mobile phone or send in an inquiry to my personal email address. All the best, and may you have a roaring year.